welcome to another Sketch to Scrapbook page. I'm Shimelle Laine, and today I'm using this sketch, which is originally made for all landscape photos, one larger, two smaller, but what I'm going to be using it with today is two photos and a business card. I have two square photos printed at 3 inches and then a business card from the same restaurant as the photos. And I'm going to be using supplies from my June Best of Both Worlds kit. So I have the yellow speech bubble pattern paper by Amy Tangerine and this speech bubble pattern paper from Echo Park's Here and Now collection. I'm going to use this one as the background in the full pattern, and then this big star embellishment in the center is going to become some speech bubbles. So I have speech bubbles both on this page to cut out, and there's also a big hey there speech bubble here on the Find Your Wings and Fly sticker sheet from the kit. So I think I'm going to use a few different things like that. So far I have pulled in one sheet of dark craft cardstock, and I'm going to use that just a little tiny border around the edge because the business card is printed on that same kind of paper. And originally I was just going to use the yellow, but when I placed it against here, I just thought I'd like to pick up the same tone of the paper of the business card by having a little border around the edge. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off the yellow, mount it on the craft cardstock, and then follow the sketch from there on out. With the July sketches, they all include mist in the sketch in some way. So I'm going to be choosing some colors of mist to add to the background on top of the yellow pattern paper before I add my other elements on top. Before I add anything else to this background, I'm going to go ahead and add the mist on top. I'm using the Mr. Huey in warm calico, and I think I may also use the pony dark brown as well. This is an older color of dark brown, and I think the current one is called something else, but a dark brown, and then this kind of, well, warm calico it's a color kind of between gray and brown, if such a thing exists. So I'm just going to use a big paintbrush and drop this across the page. And I think what I'm going to do is small dots in this calico shade and then some large droplets in the brown. I can get large droplets with the same brush, but it needs to be more saturated than what I used to get the small drops. So you have to have a lot of mist, but then it will give you these lovely big drops from the big brush. Now I'm not too worried about this being too many because I'm going to cover some of this up. So that's okay if it looks like way too much ink at the moment, because the other elements on the page will help it balance out. And then I'll clean up my brush while the mist dries, and that's about as much time as it will need to dry, and I can carry on from there. Now I'm ready to add the photos and the other elements to the page. So I'm going to replace the one larger landscape photo with the two small square photos, and then the business card is going to go down here. And I could go ahead and add these straight to the paper. I actually don't dislike them this way, but I wanted to try something following the sketch, which has each element matted, and that's to use a yellow pattern paper on top of another yellow pattern paper. So this block is from the chili bean soup yellow paper that's in the kit, and the two yellow tones are, even though they're from different companies, are a really good match. And I like how the layering of the two different colors, the two different patterns in the same color, just adds a little something different. So I'm going to place the photos on there. And then instead of using the same pattern as a mat on the business card, I'm going to use one part of the cut apart sheet, and I'm going to use it on its side and not including the ice cream cone. So I'm just going to use it to mat this picture, or mat the business card and bring it around so that you just see the color and that dotted line and the text at the bottom. And I want this to connect everything, so this should be able to meet here, but also cover up part of that ink blot so that that's all connected. And now I'm ready to go to the part of the sketch which has this big embellishment in the middle, which is where I'm going to bring in my speech bubble paper, and I'm going to choose a couple of these to cut out and add as different elements on the page, including a larger group of embellishments here in the center. Because I've added the turquoise into the color scheme here, I'm going to go ahead and use the same color for the letter stickers in the title. That's from the Simple Stories letter sticker sheet. And then my journaling is going to go below the title block there, but there's going to be some embellishment here. And that made me want to repeat the turquoise somewhere else. But aside from this card that's the same color, but I really didn't want to use the clouds on this particular page and would like to use them on a future page. So I don't want to use that card, so I started looking for other places that I could find the turquoise. Unfortunately, in all the different letter or word blocks here, there wasn't one that would fit well with this page. So instead I turned to some ink and I just stamped the Alison Craft Oh So Happy stamp on a scrap of paper that was next to my trimmer. It's actually a map print, but I was just looking for something that would be simple and neutral. And I used turquoise ink in the background and stamped it twice, offset, so that I just have this shadow, and then stamped it once in black over the top so it's legible. So with a bit of luck, if I bring that up here, then that turquoise is going to appear 3 times in that little triangle on the page. But to get onto the design of the sketch, there's this larger group of embellishment in the middle. Now I've cut out several different speech bubbles, and I'm going to place the larger one here in the middle of the page, but I don't want to cover up the wording there. And with all 3 of these speech bubbles, I'm going to use Pop Dots to bring them up off the page, partially because I'm repeating this design of the background, all the speech bubbles there. So I kind of want it to be noticeable that it's the same design but picked up higher. So I also wanted to follow things like this, where here's the speech bubble shape, and then I'm going to place this one layered on top and just offset a little bit, so that wherever I could, I've tried to match up the shapes, not so that they're exactly the same, but so that the bubble arrows are going the same direction and that sort of thing. And I went ahead and added a little speech bubble tail to the stamped piece here as well, just to make it fit in with everything. Then this one I want to bring down so that it will be below the journaling, and the speech bubble will go right toward the bottom of the page. Now that black and white speech bubble sheet also includes these little arrow pieces like this, so I thought that could come right in here toward the title, and instead of being up off the page, this one would just be flat. And that gives me, I was trying to see which would be better. I think actually bringing it up onto the mat here and following this bottom line of the photo will be a bit better, and I'll put my writing in here before I go any further with the embellishment. So all my writing fits in this space, and I have this space free, so I'm going to start there with the embellishment, and I wanted to bring in a little bit more of the turquoise, so I'm using the turquoise washi tape, and I'm just going to run this from behind the box there. After trying a couple different things, including adding the washi tape to all 3 areas of embellishment, I think I've come up with something that's going to work to finish. So I added 2 little strips of washi tape here, and then topped it with some word stickers that coordinated. They're actually from the Glitz no, not Walking in Sunshine, Sunshine in My Soul sticker sheet. So there are 2 from here. And then I'm adding in some turquoise and yellow enamel dots. These are by My Mind's Eye, and they're not in the kit. They're just something that I tend to use a lot recently. as a finishing touch. So I'm going to do just 3 little dots of color near each place of embellishment. So add the 2 little turquoise dots there too. And I think that's probably where I'll finish this one. I've got the date, I've got all the journaling down, and I think I'm happy with that. I tried adding a little bit more in here, and I think it got too cluttered very quickly. So I'm going to stop before I go ahead and pile on too much stuff that's going to make it hard to see everything. So there's my page for this particular sketch. You can pop over to Shimelle.com and you'll find another interpretation of the sketch by one of our guest artists, and you can save and print this sketch or add it to your phone, your iPad, whatever it is that you use when you scrapbook. And I'd love to see what you make if you take some inspiration from this and join in with us as we try to add some mist to our pages this month. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Happy scrapping!